Future provides career and employment perspectives for anyone interested in learning how others have navigated their vocational choices. Listeners will pick up tips about creating meaning in their lives, building experience, developing a professional network, and managing their own careers to have a positive impact. Featuring lively discussions and special guests, we'll discuss unique career journeys and offer valuable insights into thinking about your future. It's never too soon to begin planning your career path, and it's never too late to make a change. Join us and learn how to take the stress and anxiety out of career planning.
Hello and welcome to Discovering Your Future, a Frederick Community College podcast. I'm your host, Manuel Diaz, a student at FCC and a production member of the podcast. And today our guest is Mr. Christian Phillips, Senior Technology Consultant at Ernst & Young. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself and what you've been working on?
Well, first off, I just want to say thanks for having me. Super excited to be back here on campus. It's been, I want to say 7 years since I graduated. So it's been an eventful 7 years, but definitely glad to be back and be able to talk to you about a wide range of topics. But a little bit about me. I graduated FCC back in 2015. And from there, I transferred to University of Maryland, College Park, where I majored in business, specifically information systems. And then from there, I started my career at a company called Deloitte. It's a consulting firm similar to what I do now. And then after 2 years at Deloitte, I then moved to Ernst & Young, or EY. So I've been at EY for the last 3 years. And ever since I've been working, I've been, really passionate about coming back to campus, talking to students, and really just sharing the knowledge and experiences I've had with other people. Hopefully that'll help them out.
By the way, how old are you?
I'm 27.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. So I'm 20.
Nice.
So we got some age.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, who are you looking up to? Like, inspiration-wise, who do you look up to?
That's an interesting question because really for me, like, to be completely honest, when I was coming up, during my college years or even my high school years, I didn't know anybody that was doing what I wanted to do. I didn't really have anybody to look up to, in other words. There were some people that I knew that were doing cool things in business or in the arts that I was around, but they weren't necessarily like more established than I was. So I didn't really have anybody to look up to. So I think part of my journey was kind of figuring out what I wanted and figuring out what the vision of my future looked like. And I think that was really hard, like not having an example, because I had to really just navigate it myself. And I'm still kind of building out what my future looks like. But obviously now being in the workforce for a few years, I know people who are more farther into their career than I am. So now I think I have more models or examples that I could look up to. But I think coming up, I didn't really have examples like that. And that's part of the reason why I'm here, just to help other people have an idea of what their future could look like.
I feel like you're still super young too.
Yeah, I'm definitely super young. I mean, I'm only 5 years into working, 5 years post-college, so I'm still pretty young. Yeah, so I mean, but I think from that perspective, I'm not too far removed from the college experience and knowing what it's like to be lost or still trying to figure out what my future is going to look like.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
I want to ask, I mean, if you didn't have anyone to look up to professional-wise, did you have like someone you looked up to just in general?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would definitely say my father.
True.
So growing up, my father was a telecommunications engineer. So he was always working. And I had no idea what he was doing because as a kid, you don't know what engineering is all about. But,
yeah.
I just saw his work ethic and he was always working, putting in overtime. So I think the biggest thing I got from him was work ethic and just seeing him work weekends. He would work like 24-hour shifts, you know what I mean? And he would come home and just be super tired, but, he would still find the energy to spend time with me and my brother. So I definitely got my work ethic from him, just seeing that model growing up.
I feel that. Growing up, it was the same thing. It was like, Well, my dad wasn't an engineer. He worked in construction, but he also would DJ. So that was like a big thing to me. It was like growing up around audio equipment, like all those hand-me-downs, all those, even if it was like junk gear, you know, it was still regardless. It was so awesome to me. And I didn't like think I was going to go into audio at all. Actually, at first I wanted to draw.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what happened is I had like a whole drawing pad. I used to animate and just spend all my time doing that. But what actually ended up happening was, I don't know. What turned me off music at first was just the idea of like, I was in the band in high school.
Really? Nice.
And you know, high school band, the people, not a diss towards anybody, but it's like, you know, it's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
And so I ended up just like getting annoyed of it, and I ended up leaving like sophomore year. But I think that's when I really started taking like music seriously, because when I wasn't in the band, right, like playing my trombone or whatever, I was I don't know, I'd rather sit on my laptop and make beats. So that's what I was doing back then. And then that just grew into like a love of audio in general and just like cabling stuff up.
I think that's awesome, because what you described is kind of like your mini journey into how you got to where you are, and how it started was you just being interested in something, and that led to something else, and then that led to something else. So I think that's super cool how starting a band led you to, and it's also related. Like you were playing instruments, and now you're making beats, and now you're doing audio. So, yeah, I think that's cool.
Is that kind of how like you were with IT and business in a way?
That's a good question. Well, I knew so seeing my dad be an engineer when I was a kid, he would work on hospital telecommunication systems. So he used to have a truck, and he used to have all these wires and things. And I never knew what it was that he did, but I think the technology aspect stuck with me, because you know, when I was a kid, I was really into technology. You know, naturally being a kid, you're into video games and things like that. And then I think as I was getting older, engineering as a field seemed interesting to me, because, you know, it's kind of like engineering is the way that a lot of the complex problems in the world are solved. You know, so I thought that was interesting. But at the same time, growing up, I had a strong affinity for business. So growing up, I was the kid doing car washes in my neighborhood. I had a lemonade stand. I was shoveling snow. I was doing pretty much everything you could think of growing up. So business was kind of always natural to me. And then the technology side kind of came along with that. So that led me to that later on. But it was definitely a journey, because I didn't have that clear vision of that as I was growing up. I kind of had to find my way.
And what keeps you motivated in that field?
I think the thing that motivates me primarily is, so for example, right now, I am trying to transition from being a senior consultant to a manager. Manager is like the next step where you're leading a team. And my primary desire to go forward and try and get that position is so that I can have more of an impact on the people around me. Obviously, I'm still in my environment and I can have an impact now, but being a lead of a project and leading people in a formal role is something I've always looked forward to. And that's something I'm passionate about. And I think, again, because early on in my career, I felt like I wanted more guidance than I received. So I think as I've gotten more experience, I've been able to give my experience to others and kind of pour more into others. So that's really my biggest motivation, is to be impacting the people around me in my workplace and outside of my workplace, college campuses, things like that.
That's nice.
I appreciate it.
You know that I was looking at your LinkedIn and everything, and I saw that like impact is a big thing that you do. Like, for example, there was a couple times where you listed foundations that you worked as, like volunteer work, and I'm not sure. It said you founded one of them, the Benchwarmers Foundation.
Yeah, so I actually founded that when I was at FCC. So I want to say 2015. I founded a sports foundation centered around sports, like local sports community, and giving back to the community through sports, because sports is a way that you can bring people together. It's a way that where I grew up, a lot of kids stayed out of trouble because they were playing sports. So I saw how sports positively affected a lot of kids that I was growing up with and how it affected me. So the Benchwarmers Foundation was all about that. So as a part of that organization, what we were essentially doing, we were doing sports related events and, volunteering different things. So like in the rock and roll marathon in 2015, we helped run the finish line for that. We also did like clothes drives and things like that. Then we promoted a lot of that stuff here on FCC campus. So yeah, I mean, that was a good experience. It was a big learning experience because I had no idea what I was doing.
And as like you were the leader and everything?
Yeah, I founded it.
So how was that? Just leading?
So I think I had a strong passion and vision for what I wanted the foundation to be. And I think that helped me to break through the fear that I had because, being the founder, you have to go up to people and talk and have conversations, and you can't be afraid to get out your box. So really you have to sell what it is you're doing. You have to sell your vision to the people that you want to participate with you and to the people that you want to partner with your organization. So, yeah, it was scary, but it was one of the first times I really started something that was like a foundation or like nonprofit. And I learned a lot. From the experience, but yeah.
And that's a big move. And you said that was when you were at FCC, so that's like 1920?
Yeah, 1920, so 2015.
Wow. Yeah. That's big, my opinion, to handle that much.
I appreciate it. But I mean, I had a lot of great people working with me throughout the process. So, yeah. Well,
I want to ask. So we talked about over an email that you said you wanted to talk about control and drive. So what I wanted to ask was, my thing got cut out, but basically, if you want to go into that, just about how controlling your career, like you said, your salary, your position.
Yeah, so I think it's an interesting topic because I think a big sentiment right now in our generation is kind of like 9-to-5s are bad, college is a scam. There's all this like negative language around college and working full-time jobs and kind of like the traditional way that people went about building a life. And in a way, I understand because now there's all these alternative ways that people are becoming successful, whether it's through social media or entrepreneurship or just in the internet age. There's so many different ways that people are able to become successful that people are seeing that they don't need to go a traditional route going through college and getting some type of corporate job. And that's fair, you know what I mean? But I think within that, there's also a sentiment of, if you go that traditional route, that you're kind of like being a sheep to the system, just just doing what you were told to do. Oh, you went to college, then you got a job. That's what everybody's supposed to do. And I think that view is kind of, I don't think it tells the whole story because, while everybody is championing entrepreneurship, which is great, I've done that myself. At the same time, I don't think people understand the power that you can have being an employee, working at somebody's company, working at a corporation, working at any type of business. I think people look down on that and think that because you work for somebody that you have no control, you have no power, you're not able to dictate at all what your life looks like because you work for somebody. And that's totally not true.
Yeah, that's facts. And there's a lot of reasons to get a corporate job. I feel like besides that, there's like benefits is one big thing. Besides just benefits, it's a huge resume builder too. Like to have a corporate job, I feel like some people kind of forget that like entrepreneurship, as great as it is, won't always pan out. And even still, some people are entrepreneurs with a side job. People are working 9-to-5 and then still going back home and working an entrepreneurship thing. So I think that's definitely true. Especially like in the newer mindset, like you said, it's the same thing I kind of feel like with trades. That's how kind of people see trades as well. Like, oh, I'm not going to go work a trade. Maybe that mentality is a little bit gone because I feel like younger people are going into the trades too. But, just in general, corporate jobs, trades. I feel like that kind of like mindset definitely did die out for a little bit, just out of the fact that, in America, obviously, like the jobs, like the work system is not the best. And like, it is pretty tough to climb up. But I feel like some people do forget that knowing the right people and networking and making those connections and making sure that people have your back in those jobs is another thing that you can do. Like, because it's all about relationships to me. It's like, who do you know? Who's going to make sure that you're good once you go up? It's just like, as you keep going up too, you meet new people. Those are like, each door is an opportunity. Each person is an opportunity. Not to see each person like that, obviously, because they're humans. But,
right.
In terms of business and career, I feel like everyone's a opportunity, really.
Yeah, and I think everyone could be an asset, and your biggest asset is yourself.
Facts.
So like in terms of drive, in terms of control, in terms of being an employee, it really starts with what you want. What do you have to know who you are. You have to know what you want. So you have to ask yourself these questions. What do I want my future to look like? What work do I want to be doing? What field do I want to be in? What company do I want to work at? How much do I want to make? Like, if you can answer all those for yourself, then you can start to chart the path to where exactly you want to be. Because as an employee, just because it's not your company doesn't mean you can't create the situation that you want for yourself.
Yeah.
You totally can. You totally can. And I think more people should understand that. And I think especially being in college. So when I was a junior and senior at University of Maryland, a lot of kids just wanted to get any job offer they could from, the quote unquote most prestigious companies or whoever was paying the highest coming straight out of school. People just wanted those job offers. And there was really there wasn't much thought into what type of work you will be doing, what type of work environment it was going to be, how much you were going to be working. People just it was kind of like one dimensional. And there was really no thought past getting an offer at a great name company at a high salary. But I think if you look at it in a one-dimensional way like that, you put yourself in a box and you can kind of trap yourself. Because if you're not thinking about other factors of your life, because this is your life, if you have a family or if you have a hobby, if you like to run marathons and you train marathons throughout the week, maybe you don't want to work until 8 p.m. every day. So maybe you should choose a company that has a better work-life balance that allows you to live the life that outside of work that you still want to live. So it's looking more than just the name of the company and the salary that they're trying to give you. Is having a more holistic view of just working at a company and what that is to you. Because like I said, a lot of people view it as, the job you work for is your master and you just have to go with whatever they have for you and you have no say. But that's totally not the case.
Did you apply that when you coming out of college? You got a couple jobs. So I imagine that you went through that same process of just...
Yeah, I would say I was learning all these things in the process. So for me, I got married after my junior year of college.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, so that was crazy in itself. So my junior year, me planning to get married that summer, I knew, okay, I got to land these internships. I got to land me a job so I could take care of me and my wife going into my senior year. So for me, I was kind of one of those kids where I was just like, show me the money. I need to sign something so I can have a good opportunity coming out of school that's going to prepare me for my future. And I did that. So when I started my first job, I had no idea what type of work I was going to be doing. I just knew, they were going to be paying me and it's a good company and I'll figure out the rest later. And I did that for my first role. And I quickly began to realize that the brand name of the place that I was at, I started at Deloitte, which was a great company when I was there. And I would go back, but at the time, me not knowing what type of work I wanted to do, I think the luster of the name wore off very quickly. And then I was left with the reality of like, wow, I'm not doing what I want to do. That that luster of the name wears off. You get used to the salary that you make eventually. And then it's like, what else do I have? What is my purpose here in the workplace? So that was kind of when I started to learn what I want actually matters, because it's not just about the superficial things. The brand name of the company you work at may be important. Your pay is important, but you also have to have a purpose for why you're there. Either you like what you're doing, either you're passionate about the impact you can make where you're at, or X, Y, Z. And I didn't have that purpose at that point. So I kind of had to ask myself those questions to figure out what I wanted. And that's what led me to where I am now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about something to say back, but no, that's real cool.
So where are you at in your journey?
Right now, it's a little bit tough because I'm young, right? So I'm real young. And, I guess here, this is my real feedback. So it's like the idea of like taking any job. I'm exactly right there, right? Like I'm taking any side gig I really can with anything to do with audio, out of the fact that I really want to be an audio engineer, at least for live stuff, right? Like I know the recording studios are kind of dead, like, you know what I mean? Because anyone can buy a Focusrite or any other audio interface,
right,
and set up a home studio within the day. And you know what? Some people are making better mixes than people with a whole recording studio.
Right.
So that's like a big thing. But it's like, taking any gig. I've taken some like weirder gigs that I still have to like see how it goes through and everything. But you learn a lot from that. Like you said, like taking like, what do you really want? Because that's like a big thing. I kind of want to go into video as well, because I kind of want to take that and go like take my audio side and go into broadcasting maybe.
Oh, nice.
So like maybe news networks, radios and stuff like that, and just incorporate video with it. I'm not sure if radio even uses video like that, but like places that uses cameras.
I think that's cool though, because you have a direction. You have direction, and you're taking any opportunity, but I think that's good because you're learning the things that you like and the things that you don't like in the direction you're going. So I think more people should do that, because you're putting yourself out there and you're taking risks doing things that you haven't done before. You're getting new experiences, and that just helps. One, that adds experience, just things that you've already done and been through, but it also helps you mentally like understand what you like and don't like, and it kind of helps you create a vision for your future. So I think that's cool. Yeah.
And it's a big thing. It's like, I feel like a lot of people that go in audio, it's like the, you really don't know what the job kind of is, like first going in. Cause it's like, okay, I like this thing and I want to make money out of it, but how do I go do that? And the first thing that comes to everyone is like the guy behind a mixing board at a recording studio. And I feel like people forget how deep, like, going into audio really can be.
Right.
It's like there's so many different facets. Almost every single live thing that we see anywhere, really, whether it's on your phone, on TV, it's a news broadcast, even a presidential speech is,
right,
there's someone behind there. I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen like the Dawn to 2 thing with Kanye.
Of course.
Yeah. When he like throws the mic and everything in the audio.
The sound was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure what the problem is. I forgot what it was. I think it was like their microphone was not, or their click track, their monitors were not in.
I'm not sure specifically, but it goes to the point, like a lot of people don't notice the audio people until there's bad audio.
Yeah.
So
I feel like the point of the job is to be a ghost.
Right. They're like the unsung heroes of production. So I think that's cool.
So I gotta ask, you were talking about, leaving impact and meaning. What's the meaning that you really want to leave with your work?
With my work, obviously, I want to excel at a high level in the effectiveness of me doing my job and leading people and leading teams. In business, there's always an objective. Of course, I always want to pursue excellence, but success overall to me is being effective and reaching our goal with people that come out of the situation farther ahead personally. Like they develop more professionally or personally, just through us working together as a team through the ups and downs, being there for each other, supporting each other, and getting to our destination. I think that's the way that I want to win. That's the way I want to win, essentially. I don't have any desire to succeed by myself or succeed with people around me that hate working with me or for me. I just don't have a desire for that.
Yeah, it's like coming up with everybody.
Exactly.
That actually puts in the work with you.
Exactly. Growing up, I was a fan of basketball, and my favorite player was Michael Jordan. And early in his career, he was hands down like the best individual player. But over the years, he wasn't able to get it done by himself. He wasn't able to win a championship by himself. But, over the years, his team got better. They surrounded him with better talent and a better coach. So, like, you had the whole environment there. All the pieces were there. And the way that they won, like, they personally, like, they had a lot of animosity because, winning is tough sometimes. But that was definitely inspiration to me to show me that, like, when I win, I want to do it with people that I can grow with, that they can pour into me and I can pour into them. That's really the big thing for me.
And at Ernest & Young, you got a good team?
I would say so. So I work on a team about 20 people. So it's a good sized team. On a daily basis, I probably work with 5 or 6 of those people. But yeah, we're really supportive of each other. We have different areas of expertise, so we can lean on each other. So I think it's been a great experience, and seeing our team grow as we get brand new people in, being able to help coach and guide some of the newcomers to our team has been a great experience as well.
We're coming down to 26 minutes. That's actually been a good bit. So I just want to ask, besides just meaning in career, what gives meaning to just life in general to you?
For me, it's my faith. And I think that was something I found when I was here at FCC, back in like 2014. I became a Christian back then, and that helped me personally. That helped me figure out what I wanted to do in my life, the purpose for me doing these things. Some people go to work and they would just want to make as much money as possible. And that's cool because we need money to live. Some people want to do work in the specific industry. Like, that's what drives them, working in a certain industry. For me, I'm kind of industry and job function agnostic. Like, I can be anywhere, but the thing for me is purpose. And, I just want to love people in my workplace and build into people and see other people be successful in the workplace. So I would say my faith has helped shape everything from a career perspective for me, as well as other areas of my life. But yeah, I would say that.
And what's your final advice to anybody listening to this podcast? So whether young, old, student, non-student, wherever they are in life, just in general advice.
I would say 2 things. I would say, first, you have to know yourself. I don't think enough people spend enough time self-examining themselves. Like, what do you want?
True.
What at the end of the day, just in life, what do you want? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? I think really spending time figuring out who you are is important because, life is complicated and, we get lost. There's ups and downs. There's trials, successes. And life is crazy. It's madness. Like, there's always different things going on, and it's easy to get lost in the mix. But I think if you really know who you are, that's kind of like your anchor to always know how you're supposed to operate in any situation. So I think that's the first thing, just taking time to analyze yourself and ask yourself those questions and figure those out over time. And it's not always an overnight answer. I think, somewhat of a process, but figuring out who you are, and that's going to help guide the next steps for you. And then the second thing, more correlated to career and entrepreneurship and et cetera, is I I would say nothing is, like, you can't be entitled. Nothing is guaranteed. There's so many people who are out in the world doing the same thing as you. So you can't think just because you like to do it that there's going to be a job waiting for you or opportunity waiting for you. You have to really master your craft. You have to go put in your 10,000 hours and be the best that you can be. And you have to fight for those opportunities. You have to get out of your box and talk to people and network and use every resource at your disposal to get to where you want to get to, because there's a lot of other people who are doing just as much. So it's like, if you know yourself and you really want something, you have to work hard at it, and you have to be focused and doing things that are going to get you to whatever your end goal is.
No, that's big. I believe that same thing.
Yeah.
Both advice, but especially that second one. I feel that, in any career, there's going to be a million people just like you that wants to do the same exact thing. So it's really like, what is the difference between you and him?
Exactly.
And maybe it comes down to a piece of paper, like a resume. But at the end of the day, like, if you actually get the chance to show them that as well, I mean, it'll be proven in work.
Exactly. And I think to add on to that, in addition to your work, like, when you get to a high level, everybody's good. Like, when you get to the NBA, everybody's good.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you separate yourself? And I think what you see a lot of times is people's personalities and their character separates them. Because I could be on a championship team playing with LeBron, playing with Steph Curry, and maybe I average like 2 points a game. Maybe I don't even get in the game. But all these really elite teams have a veteran, like a 15-year veteran sitting on the bench. He never even plays, but he's there to provide leadership and character for the rest of the team. So if you know who you are, if you dedicate yourself and you have strong character to impact people around you, there's always going to be opportunity for you. Like, the combination of all those things. And a lot of times I feel like people just think that all they have to be is good enough to them. But that's not. You have to be all those things. You have to know who you are. You have to be great. You have to have high character and have the ability to impact people around you and be a good influence for people around you. So it's really all those things. And with all those things, there's no shortage of opportunity for people like that.
I feel like that's a great ending.
There it is.
Just to wrap it up, this has been the Discovering Your Future podcast with your host, Manuel Diaz, and guest, Mr. Christian Phillips. I want to thank everyone for listening and our guests for taking their time to come talk with us. May everyone have a great rest of your day, and peace to everyone listening to the podcast.
Hope this episode has served as inspiration for you and will help you make wise decisions involving your professional career. We appreciate your continued support. If you have any questions or topic suggestions, feel free to leave them in a comment section, and don't forget to visit the FCC website for great career info and counseling.